Oh my goodness, gosh and golly, another video. What? How about that? That's crazy. Here we are. Me, you, what's up? Welcome back to You with Love. My name's Ryan, and today I want to make a video about how do we keep a consistent practice in the face of emotional adversity. You know, emotions are volatile almost by nature. And I say almost because there's so much we can do over the course of our lives to stabilize our emotional state so that even in the case of fluctuations, we can remain on an even keel. We can experience our emotions with a level head. But until we get there, or I should say, as we go through the process of getting more there, one of the great obstacles that stands between most people and having a consistent meditative practice is the fluctuations of our own emotional state. And, you know, ironically, it's the people who derive the most benefit from meditation who are trying to alleviate some kind of suffering or long-held trauma, some kind of pain that nags at you that nothing can really seem to alleviate completely. People will often look towards practices like meditation to find some relief and ultimately to transform themselves and to transform that pain altogether. But, you know, like I said, there is a road between A and B. And it is a rich process, but it can be challenging at times. You know, what do we do when we're anxious, when we're angry, when we're sad, when we're going through a very rough patch of life that could last anywhere from an hour to a year or more? What do we do when we're traversing that rough patch, but we also want to have a consistent practice? Well, we have to just adjust the dial. I don't know, speaking of adjusting, I'm going to make sure that, okay, the mic's on, audio is good. But yeah, we need to adjust the dial. You know, there's really nothing in life that is so robotic that it's always stuck on one setting. We're always finding homeostasis, that sweet balance point. So meditation is no different. If you're experiencing a moment, a day, or a season where the weight of responsibility or anxiety or depression is so exaggerated that having a practice is just another task on the list, but you still want to remain consistent, you just need to turn the dial. And why would you even want to turn the dial? Why would a person want to persist with their practice when anxieties, fears, sorrows, and the like surfaces? You know, a person could easily protest that, oh, well, you know, I've been doing this for X amount of time, and this thing isn't gone yet. And you know what? That's a valid argument, but to that I would say that when we're dissolving long-held traumas and negative experiences, it's a process. It doesn't just happen in one day, in one session. You know, there are people who have been meditating for years, and they derive great benefit from the practice, but it didn't just make it all go away. And the reason why I'm recording this video on this topic in particular is because the past few months have hosted some very potent challenges for me personally. And there have been many a time when I've had to take inventory of the risk to reward ratio, you know, of a practice, and the risk always tops out. But in order to reap that reward and stay consistent, I've found that having what I call a relaxed discipline is key. So, on days when you don't have the mental or emotional wherewithal, or even if you're really excited and you just want to go experience something, let's say you're not in a bad mood at all, but something comes along that makes your practice feel like a task as opposed to something that you're doing for your well-being that you enjoy. Well, in the face of any of those scenarios, what you would do is just turn the dial instead of switching it off. So if you have someone who wants to maintain, say, a 20-minute practice, and they want that to be their consistent baseline, but they're having a really rough time, take that down to 10. Take it down to 5. Take it down to 2 if you had to. I once had, I still have, a dear friend who once told me that even a single mindful breath is so valuable to our overall well-being. And I couldn't agree more. So whatever you need to do to maintain that rapport with yourself, do it. And do it knowing that the investment that you're making will ultimately elevate and stabilize your mood. Engaging in a meditative process is very brave because it's an effortless effort. And one of the main things that it does require is that we sit in silence with ourselves. And that can be terrifying when you're sad, when you're angry, when you're frustrated. That can be just kind of a nuisance when there's stuff you want to do. But the fact of the matter is, everything that gets caught in our mental, emotional lint trap, whether it's good or bad, things will build up. And a meditative process, it cleans out that lint trap and it expands our capacity to make better decisions when the going gets rough, and to just be in a better place when the going's good and when the going's rough. So if you're someone who finds themselves often availed by depression, anxiety, or if maybe you're in a demanding period of your life where adding more things to your to-do list, even if it's just sitting quietly with yourself, is overwhelming, but you still want to reap the scientifically backed neurological, overall physiological, and like I say, if you're spiritually inclined, the spiritual benefits of having a meditative practice, then just turn the dial. Give yourself permission to have this practice of meditation fluctuate along with you without giving it up. And what you're doing there is you're training flexibility. And training flexibility will serve you so well in the long run. And you'll be able to look to all the times that you've trained that flexibility when you are confronted with other challenges in your life. So, I hope that this video helps you. I encourage anyone and everyone, regardless of your rough patches and your scars, and regardless of what time and season you're in right now, to really dive in a way that feels comfortable and not overwhelming for you into a meditative practice, and just see the compounding results over the course of days, weeks, months, and then years. And as always, immense love to all of you. I hope that you're having a really good day, and happy Earth Day, because it just so happens to be that. And one more thing, in the past videos I've talked about the value of having a technique, because anyone who just tries to close their eyes and hopes their thoughts go away, good luck. And I did just post a previous video where a friend of mine, Jerome, was a special guest, and he came on and gave some really great techniques in the form of a guided meditation that you can follow along in that video. So there'll be a link to that video in the description here. And also, I do plan on recording some techniques that have really helped me that you can also use as a template. So know that that's coming on down the pipeline. All right, till next time, adios. Okay, also, one thing I want to add, earlier in that video, I said that it's the people oftentimes who are trying to alleviate that suffering that derive the most benefit from a practice like this. I want to correct that. Oftentimes those people are the ones who seek it out. But look at my other videos, look at the video titled A Case for Meditation, and you'll see that a practice like this will benefit you on every level of your being and functionality, regardless of whether you consider yourself someone afflicted by previous suffering or you're just a happy-go-lucky dude. Okay.